am a business, nonprofit, and real estate attorney here in Chicago. I am a wife, a mother of two, an entrepreneur, a nonprofit professional, of course, an attorney, and also a real estate investor and a business coach. So all of those things come together to help me help people start and grow their businesses. Okay. So first of all, I want to let you all know that I have a freebie for you. It is a download. If you do not have it, I'm going to put it in the chat for you all. Just one second. It is a wonderful, very in-depth handout. It's not one of those handouts that you see with a lot of questions. It's one of those handouts that has a lot of valuable information for you all to help you start your businesses. All right. So that's the link in the chat, enterpriseesquire.com/freebies, and download the I want to start a business now what download the I want to start a business now what handout. Okay. It's a PDF, and I think that you all will quite enjoy that. So it has a checklist in there. It has information about company comparisons to help you decide which business is going to be best for you. And please know that as the attorney, as the business attorney, I do a risk assessment. When you all schedule a free 15-minute consultation, I help do a risk assessment of what you want your business to be. And I ask you a series of questions, and then I help you determine what business entity is going to be best for you. LLC is probably the most recommended, but I kind of recommend S Corps a lot, right? I'm an S Corp as well. There's C Corps, but all of those depend upon what type of business you want to get in. So if you're going to do something and you want to do some type of joint venture where you're going to have a fund come buy you out, your structure probably needs to be different than if you're making handmade jewelry. And so when you have a free 15-minute consultation, you can book that on my website. We will walk through that so that I can tell you, I advise you on the best setup for your business. All right. So getting started. A lot of people ask me the question, I want to start a business, now what? And that's literally why I titled the handout that way, because that's the question that they come and ask me. And I say, okay, well, let's take it from the beginning. Now, are you making any money, right? What is it that you want to sell? So be clear on what it is that you want to sell. Are you selling goods? Are you selling services? And are you making any money from that currently? So it's a little bit different if it's something that's an idea in your head and you want to try it, as opposed to, oh, I make these amazing cookies, I'm doing it now, I wonder if I can sell these things, because it's something that you're already doing, you're executing on, as opposed to something that is still an idea in your head. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen for a second here. And this is the startup checklist. And this is in the handout. And this is going to be very valuable to you all. So I break it down into 3 phases. You want preparation, you want execution, and you want growth. Okay. That's the 3 stages of your business. So number 1, when I say conduct market research, it can be something as simple as, are you selling your cookies to anybody? Does anybody want to buy your cookies? Do people come over and ask you for cookies all the time and say, oh, I would pay for these if you sold them? Are they that good that you would pay for them? And so, you have to conduct a little bit of market research to determine the viability of your business. Now, I'm not saying you need to, depending upon the type of business, some of you all have to go out and do full scope market researches. If you're doing some type of, you want to be some type of developer, or you're doing some type of huge joint venture or some type of huge product, then, your market research is going to be way different than selling cookies or homemade, or making homemade jewelry or something like that, or homemade soaps, those types of things, right? So you need to conduct a little bit of market research. And when I say that, write it down, because you want to write down who told you that they would buy this stuff from you. You want to know about them, because that's going to go play into who your ideal client is. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Next is a business plan. All right. Now, I know you hear the words business plan and people get overwhelmed immediately, right? They get freaked out because they're thinking, oh, some 25-page document. I have to do my SWOT analysis. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to competitors, all of that. And it can be something as simple as a one sheeter. You can Google one sheet business plan and a one sheet business plan will come up. But essentially, at the heart of a business plan is what is the problem that is out there in the market? And then you write down what your solution is. What problem are you solving? That is what is going to determine whether or not you're going to have a viable business. It's just that simple. People need to have a problem, and you need to be able to provide the right, accurate solution in their price range for them. So don't be befuddled or overwhelmed by the word business plan. The Small Business Associate government at SBA.gov, they have a business plan. That thing is quite intense. So I'm not recommending you do that right off the bat, depending upon your type of business, but a one sheet business plan that gets to the heart of the matter, the problem, the solution, how you're going to make money, like what are you selling? How much are you selling it for? Who your ideal client is, who potentially your competitors are, and what market you're going to serve. Are you serving just a local market? Are you nationwide? Are you statewide? How is that going to work? Are you internet based? So it's just those basic questions that a lot of people don't even bother to answer up front, and it really does affect the viability of their business. All right. Next is budget. And this could be the most crude budget ever in Excel, right? You really just need to know, do you have enough money to get started, depending upon what your business is, right? Again, if I go back to cookies, a little bit more definitive on what your costs are to make those particular cookies, as opposed to someone who is, either a software development or making an app, something like that, right? So, the budget is going to be dictated upon the type of business that you have, but in any instance, you need to have the most basic type of budget. You need to include startup costs. Some people have to hire employees right off the bat. That's not the case for every small business, which is fine. So you want to be aware of that. So just keep that in mind, because you don't want to get down this road, spending money, getting down this road, and then realize you don't have enough to complete it because you didn't think enough about it up front, right? So just be mindful of that. And then finally, you want to choose a business structure. And that is what a business attorney is going to help you do. Namely, myself, Enterprise Esquire, can help you do that. And like I said, you can book a free 15-minute consultation on my website at enterpriseesquire.com/calendar. All right. And what we are going to do is, like I mentioned, we're going to do a risk assessment, and we're going to talk about what type of business that you want to do. Are you goods? Are you services? Who is your target market? So clearly, your risk assessed with making toys for babies is so much greater than I make homemade jewelry, right? That risk profile is going to be very, very different. And sorry, it looks like system shut down and is starting back up. Sorry about that. I don't know if you all had the problem, but it was my system, my Zoom completely shut down and then just launched back up. So I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. So as I was saying about the risk profile, right? Oh, let me start sharing again. So now you can see. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know about the audio. Let me do audio test right quick. Testing, testing. Okay, you all hear okay now? Let me know in the chat if that's better. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let me go back to sharing the screen. I don't know what happened over here. It just completely shut down and relaunched itself. But like I was saying, the risk profile of your business really depends on the types of goods and services that you are providing, right? And so that's a discussion that we're going to have. And another thing that we're going to talk about that a lot of people do not discuss or even think about is, what is your exit strategy? You're going to have a much different corporate formation if you're trying to get a fund or a venture capitalist to come in and purchase your business, as opposed to, you know what, I really want to keep this in the family, and I think I want to have something for my kids to work at and for them to take over. It's a much different setup. So that's just a little insider tip. That's one of the questions that I'm going to ask you, that we're going to talk about to determine choosing your business structure. Okay. So also, I'm going to put in the chat here. Let me see here. I think I have to go up here. Also, I'm going to put in the chat here. This is where you can go to see my business formation packages that I offer. It does include everything that you need to start your business. I literally give you everything that you need to walk into a bank and just open up a business account. Okay. My clients love this because I give a full, what I call digital corporate binder, is what I call it. And it has your operating agreement. It has your articles of organization. It has your EIN. We get your EIN for you. We give you some instructions on how to run an LLC. There's a nice little booklet in the back of it. So it has everything that you need in there. We give you your first form minutes for your first meeting. Everything that the banker is going to need, you just walk in with that PDF. You can print it out, or you can keep it on your phone, and you will walk in and you just be able to open up your business bank account without any issues whatsoever. So we do provide everything. A lot of people don't realize that they may not get an operating agreement. And an operating agreement is what runs your business. It tells the people, the members, if you're an LLC, a shareholder, if you're a C Corp, it tells them how this organization is going to be run. It talks about who owns what percentage of the business. You may own 50%, somebody else may own 25, somebody else may own another 25. It breaks all of that down in your operating agreement or your bylaw. So we give that to you as part of your package already. Okay. So I just wanted to show this to you all. This is in the handout, so be sure to get the handout. This is what we're going to do to set up your business. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the best way to know whether or not you're ready to start a business is whether or not you're selling something, right? So are people buying those handmade cookies from you? Those homemade cookies? Are they buying handmade jewelry from you? Are they doing any of that yet? If not, that's your next step. You don't have to spend any money to start a company. You just need to sell, right? You just need to sell. You need to have money coming in. It's fine. You'll be fine if you're just starting out. Just find out if you even have a viable market to move along. So that's the number one thing that you have to do, is sell something, make some money. If you're selling services, see what these people are going to pay you for the services that you're providing them. And then you can move on from there, because what you're going to do during that time, that initial selling period, is you're going to be conducting that market research. Like I said, you're going to find out who actually pays me to buy my cookies, right? Who actually pays me to buy my homemade jewelry? Write down, okay, what kind of car do they drive? Where do they work? Are they male or are they female? What kind of clothing do they wear? Where do they shop? What kind of car do they drive? Where area do they live? Do they have kids? Is it a family? Is it a single person? Do they travel a lot? What type of business do they have? Are they, executive management, senior executives? Are they middle managers? Are they administrators? What is it? All of that helps to define who it is your ideal client. Okay. So again, you don't need to set up a website. You don't need to have a full-fledged brand flushed out. You just need to sell. Okay. You just need to sell. Oh, and I want to let you all know that if at any time you have questions, just put them in the question and answer feature, only because it's easier for me to find them. Okay. It's easier for me to find the question answers when you use the quick Q&A feature. So feel free to ask questions whenever you need to, because I will just continue to talk. All right. Because I love, 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 love this stuff. All right. So you want to make sure that you have money coming in other than from your family, right? Because your family cannot be your main source. Your family and friends absolutely cannot be your main source of income. It's great that they support initially, but you can't think you're going to build a long-term sustainable business off of their repeat buying from you. That's not how it works. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are earning additional income outside of your friends and family. All right. That segues into, like I said, understanding your ideal client, finding out, talk to the people. I think a lot of times people don't want to converse, and I understand that is almost non-existent now with COVID. But prior to COVID, people could be out. You could be asking them questions. I naturally ask a lot of questions because I'm an attorney, but I get that information coming in to help better the goods and services that I'm providing to my clients, right? I found out what they wanted to know by listening to them. And then I go create this handout, for example, right? Or I go create a package for them because that's what they wanted. For example, I had 3 different business formation packages, right? I had 3 different ones. You could choose, a lower cost one, a mid cost one, and a high cost one. Well, after like 12 months of sales, it was abundantly clear that they all wanted a particular package. So I stopped the other 2 packages, combined some things into this one package, and that is the one package that I sell now, because that is what my clients want. And it literally gives them everything. They don't have to say, oh, I need to pull this from over here and I have to do an add-on over here. No, it gives them everything, but that comes from that market research and from understanding your ideal client, right? And so I want to take you to page 5 in the book. We're going to jump on over here to page 5 right quick. And it talks about, we talked about this, are you getting paid? And then we talked about your ideal client. Who do you want to buy your products? You have to understand these things. So this is just a couple of high-level questions that you should ask and understand about your clients. And just know that sometimes you may have a specific ideal client for certain products. So let's just say, for example, you sell some types of soaps, right? Maybe there's one type of soap, whether it's the smell or the ingredients, that only men buy. Like, men really like this soap, but no women care for this soap for whatever reason, the texture, the smell, what it does to their skin, whatever, but men just love this stuff, right? So you want to know that, to say, okay, when I have this product, this is what I need to focus on when a man comes by my table, or a woman who's looking for something for their significant other, for a male, right? Whether it be friend, husband, brother, cousin, whatever, right? If they're looking for a male, then that's what you want to present to them. But your other products, maybe it's that women really like my other stuff. So your ideal client could be a woman for those products, and your one or 2 of your products could be for a man. Okay. And that's just a hypothetical. It could be whatever, right? So these are some things that you want to know about your business, because it's going to help you sell better. When you know who's approaching your table, or your website, because remember, your table could be virtually, it could be your website, right? Everything is virtual now. Or a webinar. When they're on a webinar with you, you can know what to present to them based upon that ideal client and what people typically purchase from you. So do not overlook this portion here. It is so important. And I have a little buyer persona worksheet in here for you all to work through. And this is good. And you want to understand, what their goals are relevant to your products and service. Are they trying to get softer skin? Are they dealing with a skin issue? Maybe they're dealing with eczema, right? Maybe they just want more moisture, whatever it is. This is the types of things that you want to understand, all right, about your ideal client and your buyer. And so this is a continuation of the buyer persona worksheet. And then we want to move on to your unique value proposition, you all. This is so key. It's the $1 million question that your business has to answer for your ideal customer, right? Why should I buy from you? We all know there's like a ton of burger restaurants, right? You got Burger King, you got Wendy's, you got McDonald's, you got Epic Burger, you got Five Guys, whatever, right? But each one of them answers that question differently. They each have a unique value proposition that they're selling, that they're answering for their ideal customer, right? So that's why you can have different competition in your field, but you're answering that question for your ideal client. Okay. So it's not, like I say here, it's not enough just to solve the problem. Of course, that's the basics, right? I just said you have to be able to solve their problem, but you have to distinguish your brand in order to, like you're solving it faster, better, more eco-friendly, fair trade, farm to table, global citizen, local guy, gal, charitable, sustainable. I work on every day and give you a free cup of coffee kind of way. So I just included everything that I could think about that brands, different way that brands distinguish themselves, right? So some of these things are very important to people. Other of these things are not important to people at all, but you won't know that until you understand who your ideal client is. And as we know, a lot of things right now are really value based. We've seen a lot going on with the protests from summer of last year to what's going on in the news right now. And so you'll see a lot more businesses, or you have seen a lot more businesses on TV and commercials, online, even in our sports personalities, even the sports organizations themselves, the NBA, the NFL, right? They're all communicating their values now. Right? We're saying that we believe in equity, we believe in inclusion, we believe in diversity, right? So they're communicating their values more regularly to their customers. So you do not want to be the best kept secret. You want to attract those people who want to buy from you. Okay. So that is the main thing, is that you want to continue to communicate your value. All right. So that is your unique value proposition, is another thing that you have to understand when starting your business. Okay. And then I just want to back up right here to your why. All right. You need to understand why you want to be in business. I mean, making money is great, right? Like, we all need money. We got bills to pay, mouths to feed, a roof to keep over our heads, right? But if you want to be successful in your business, when you want to get through those hard days, when you want to get through those rough months, when you want to get through the struggles of business, it can't be for the money. Money is not going to satisfy you or bring you contentment or enjoyment or joy in those hard moments. It's just not. So you need to understand on a deeper level why you want to do this, so that you can remind yourself of that during those times. Okay. That is so important, because whatever it is, you need to write it down. You need to feel it. You need to know it. You need to breathe it and live it, because the success of your business depends on it. So for me, my why is I want to close the wealth gap, between Black and brown businesses, through entrepreneurship and real estate. That is my goal. I serve to close that wealth gap with entrepreneurship and real estate. All right. So as you can see, that is something that is going to keep me going, because I want my people to succeed, right? I want them to get everything that they've earned, everything that they've worked for, and be able to leave generations of wealth and legacy to their children and to their families, right? And so that gets me through those rough times. That gets me through slow months. That gets me through disappointments, right? So you really, really need to understand that, what your why is, so that you can continue on. Okay. So let me just take a moment here and just ask, are there any questions you all have right now? I'm happy to answer them, and then I'm gonna jump on into the business entity comparison chart and just kind of let you all take you all through that for a moment. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Feel free to let me know. Are you all understanding this? just let me know in the chat. Just let me know. Is everything okay? I'm happy. I'm a conversationalist, so as an attorney, I enjoy speaking to people and hearing back from you all. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to move on to the business entity comparison chart. Let me pull up this. I'm going to show you the digital corporate binder first, just so you all understand it, because I get it. It's a little bit, you know, when I describe it, it sounds kind of like, what is that? You know, what is she talking about? So let me just show this to you all really quick. Is I have one in here? Let's see, I'm trying to pull up one. Oh, here we go. All right, so let me share my screen. Thank you. Thank you, Veronica. Thanks for letting me know. Let me share my screen right quick so you all can see this. Now, this is what I was talking about. This is the digital corporate binder. Okay, so this is what you'll get. It'll say corporate documents. Comes just like this in the PDF. It's going to have a table of contents here. We're going to have your articles of organization, your operating agreement, your EIN, form minutes. We give you an operations manual, and then a place for you to put important contacts. And when I tell you my clients love this, they love this. Otherwise, they're just getting like 5 different files. They don't know what to do with it. How do I save all of these? Or I have one, I can't find the other page to this, stuff like this. So we put it all in one, and we just call it your digital corporate binder. So as you see here, you have a nice introduction where I go through everything for you all, let you know what all is in here. And then we have these section headings here so that you know what document is coming next, because I understand I know what the documents look like because I look at these documents 500 times a day, right? But if you're flipping through and you're like, oh, the banker asked for my articles of organization, I don't know what that looks like, right? This is how you find it. So we put the little divider in there for you. That's your articles of organization. That'll be there. Depending upon what type of business that you're opening, those articles will be different. We have your operating agreement. And this is what I was talking about, the operating agreement, right? Tells you when it was formed. It tells about managers. I'm going through this quickly because this is a client of mine. It's actually my husband, so that's why I'm using it. And so we talk about capital contribution, what you and your partners are contributing to the capital of the company. We talk about membership withdrawals and transfers, your dissolution, all of this stuff, right? This is all important stuff when you're operating a business. This is something they're going to want to see. And then we talk about your EIN number, and we provide that for you as well. That's the document from the IRS that you'll get. And then we have a form minutes in here for you to use if should you need them. And then, of course, we created this operations manual because it's one thing to start a business. It's an entirely different thing to run one, right? Have you ever run a business before? Some of you maybe yes, but a lot of you maybe no. So we did a little operations guide here for you, where we just talk about the highlights of your operating agreement, obtaining your net licenses and permits if you need them. Not every business requires licenses and permits. It depends upon your state, depends upon your county, depends upon your city. If what you're going to be doing has to be licensed and permitted. We talk about operations, we talk about finances, and we talk about dissolution if you have to get to that point, right? So all of that is in here. So as you see, you all, this is no fluff. That is one thing about me. I do not deal in fluff. If I'm going to sit down and write something, it's going to have all the meaty, juicy stuff in here for you all, because I want your businesses to thrive and succeed. And you can't do that on fluff, right? So I just want to bring a particular attention as you all start these businesses. You need to keep in mind that your finances need to be kept separate. You need to have your personal funds separate from your business funds, because what you don't want to happen is after you start your business, the legal entity, the LLC, the S Corp, the C Corp, whatever it is, after you start that, you want to keep the funds separate because you don't want a court to come in and pierce the corporate veil. That is a legal term. Pierce the corporate veil, meaning you were just using your company as your own personal slush fund. Okay. And you don't deserve the company, because really you're just trying to use all that money up. You're trying to avoid taxes. You're not trying to, it's your alter ego, essentially. So whatever is required of you in the personal tax realm, you're just trying to avoid it by doing things through your company. So be mindful of that. A lot of people do mess that up. That's probably the number one reason why people mess something up, is because they start combining personal and business expenses. Okay. So definitely keep that in mind. Right. So let me go over here to the business entity comparison chart. Let me share my screen again. Let's see. 10, 11, 12. Oh, here we go. All right, 1 second. There we go. Hopefully you all can see that now. All right, so this is in the guide, and we talk about forming a corporation. Now let's just talk about the reasons why you would form a corporation. There's 3 main reasons why you would form a corporation, right? The number one reason is asset protection, okay? It protects your personal assets from liability. The second reason is for liability, limitation of liability. Now, you may think those two are the same, but they're different. I'm going to explain them in just a second. And the third reason is tax advantages, right? There's certain things that you can do as a company that you cannot do personally that affords you some tax advantages. So let me go through those real quick for you all. So asset protection, as I mentioned, when you start a company, your personal assets are separate from your business assets. They consider the business to be a wholly separate entity, separate and apart from yourself, right? So that means if a creditor comes against your business, they're not attaching your personal assets, right? So your personal home, some of you may own a house or a condo or townhome or whatever, right? That's in your name. That's your personal asset. Now imagine starting your business and maybe, let's go back to my cookie example or soap example. Maybe you made some cookies and somebody got sick and then they sued you, right? And if you did not have that corporate structure in place, they're suing you and the value of your house is at stake now. Yes, they can come after your house if the claim is big enough, right? So that is the beauty of starting a business, is that asset protection. So if you started that business, then you sold cookies or you made soap and it irritated someone's skin and they sued you, they could only sue your business, all right? Or go after the assets of the business, because it is the soap or the cookies was sold by the business, not by you personally. Okay. So asset protection is number one. Number two is a limitation of liability, meaning that when your company enters into a contract and fails to do what it was supposed to do under the contract, fulfill its obligations, perform the services it was supposed to fulfill, your liability, the company is liable for that. The company is liable for that, not you personally. So you have a limitation of liability. Now, when you enter into a contract under your name, or you guarantee a loan under your name, then that takes it over into the personal realm. And now your personal liability is not limited because you signed a document to that effect, right? But if you enter into a contract in the company name and the company fails to, maybe you hired a contractor and they didn't do well, or you had an employee and they really messed up the job or something, right? Well, if they decide to sue your company, the liability is only on the company, not on you. Okay. So that's the number two reason, is the limitation of liability. And then number three, like I mentioned, is tax advantages. And while I typically direct people to their tax professional, because it really does depend on what all you have going on in your life. Some of you all have kids, second jobs, side hustles, night jobs. Some of you all may be receiving alimony, divorce, whatever it is. All of that money comes into play for your tax picture, right? Your big tax picture, right? So I usually direct people to their tax professional to understand how their company, how the money flows in their company is going to affect them personally, because everybody's personal life is different, right? So But I will tell you that while LLCs are the most popular form of business formation because of the ease of flexibility and creation and formation, S corps do allow a better tax advantage for you. I'm an S corp, right? Because I understand those tax advantages. Now, let me give you a note on S corps. Pay attention here because it's about to get really deep, but you all need to understand this as soon to be new CEOs. All right. So, an S corp is not a business entity. I know, mind blown. You're like, wait, what? I was already confused to begin with, right? All these acronyms, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, right? L3Cs, B Corps, all of that, right? Sorry. An S Corp is not a business entity. You cannot go to the Secretary of State and say, hey, I want to form an S Corp. They're going to be looking at you like, what? We don't do that here. An S Corp is an IRS designation. S Corp is an IRS designation, okay? Because it deals with tax advantage. It's how your taxes are going to flow using an S Corp, and taxes are governed by the IRS. So you have to I have to form an LLC or a C Corp first. Then I have to go to the IRS with some additional information, an additional form, and request to S Corp status, okay? So that's just a little tidbit for you all as well. And those of you who are interested in an S Corp, there's an add-on package on my website. It's not a package, just an add-on. It's called an S Corp add-on. It should be on that packages page as well. At the top, it'll say S Corp add-on. You can click that. So you would have to buy the package first, whether it's LLC or C Corp, then you add on the S Corp status. And I have to do that separately because one, S Corp is not a business entity. And two, not everybody wants an S Corp. It's a tax designation, right? So essentially what the S Corp means is that the income that comes into your business is taxed separately, right? So you in an LLC, all your income and expenses come through to your personal tax return, right? And anytime you have an LLC, everything is going to come through to your personal tax return. But you're also going to get hit with self-employment tax on that income by the IRS. So when you form an S Corp, you don't get hit with that 15.3% self-employment tax, right? So for an LLC, the income and expenses flow through to your personal tax return. You're not filing a separate tax form for your LLC. You're going to file your standard 1040. You have some information that comes in through your LLC that you put on there. You're going to get taxed at your regular rate. Some of you all are getting taxed 23, 34%, depending upon how many kids you have, right? If you're single, you're getting taxed a lot. And then you're going to get hit with that 15% self-employment tax. All right. That's if you have a standard LLC. That's why I typically recommend S Corps because the tax advantages are a bit better, but there are stipulations. So let me go down to the chart here. Okay. So this is the business entity comparison chart. And I want to just show you right here. So I talk about formation, annual fees, personal liability, ease of operation, corporate taxation. Let's talk about this. There is for an S Corp, that's this column here. There is no corporate level tax, right? There is no corporate level tax. And you see here, not subject to self-employment tax. That's at 15.3%. All right. But here is the requirement. You have to pay yourself a reasonable salary. And that is actually a legal term in the IRS code, reasonable salary. And people are like, well, okay, I'll pay myself $5. That's reasonable. No. They have a standard in which you need to abide by to determine reasonable salary. And that is for like professionals in your industry. So for example, I'm an attorney. And if let's just say I made $400,000 in my business, but I only paid myself $50,000. They're going to say that is not a reasonable salary. And they're going to tax me on what I should have paid myself, right? So you want to be mindful of that. You want to pay yourself a reasonable salary. And why do they have that requirement? Because it's the IRS, right? Anything dealing with taxes, IRS, right? What is the IRS's job? To collect taxes, right? To collect money. And so they're always going to do a trade-off. Well, I can't get you on the 15.3% self-employment tax to an LLC, but I'll make you pay yourself a reasonable salary under an S corp. And you all know from your day jobs, right, that they have payroll taxes. So when you pay yourself a salary, you have to pay payroll taxes to the state and to the federal government, just like your employer does. I pay payroll taxes. As I said, I'm an S corp. So I have Quicken, QuickBooks. They take care of all of the calculations for you, and you just put your account numbers in, and they pay the state and the feds electronically. You know, it comes out your bank account. Okay, but that's the trade-off. All right, so just know that that's part of the requirements from the IRS for an S corp. But there are tax advantages for that, right? And so, as a business, one of the tax advantages is when you pay payroll taxes, you get to write those off as a business expense. Okay, it's a business, I shouldn't say write it off, but it's a business expense. So it's deductions, right? So that is just a very high level overview between an LLC and an S corp. And that's one of the reasons why I do recommend an S corp to people. Yes, and if you underpay yourself, they will tax you. They will tax you. Now, I cannot say with any degree of certainty how many people the IRS comes after. All I know is that they've never come after me because I pay myself a decent salary. But that is why the rule is in place. There are IRS revenue rulings. They're called revenue rulings. And there have been IRS decisions made of people who underpaid themselves and then had to go to court, and they were fighting in court. And the IRS said, no, you underpaid yourself. You were paying yourself $25,000 and you were making, $125,000 in your business. You could have at least, and based upon, they have some objective criteria. I want you to know that they have objective criteria. Like, what did I say? Similar professional and similar industry. So they want like do a survey, like what are other attorneys making, right? Okay, well, maybe other attorneys in my field, my years of service, maybe I'm just pulling a number out the air. Maybe they're making 60,000, right? So I need to be paying myself at least 60,000 if business warrants, right? Clearly I can't pay myself $60,000 if I only made $40,000. So that's not the issue here, right? It's for those people whose income, the business income is coming in, but they're trying to underpay themselves. That's what you have to watch out for. I hope that answered your question, Ian. But there are revenue rulings of people who have attempted it. Okay. That's how we find out about these things. And that's how they kind of put those objective standards in place. All right. So most people do not choose a C Corp. Why? Because of double taxation. The corporate tax level is 21%. And I am trying to remember if I updated this. I think I did update this. I think it used to be more than that. So double taxation with the C Corp, right? And what that means is that if I'm selling cookies again and I have a C Corp, right? That's this. If I have a C Corp and I'm selling cookies, the income that comes in, I make $100, right? It's going to get taxed at the corporate level. Because remember, my business is a separate entity from me. So I'm going to get charged 21% tax on that $100. So now I got to pay the government $21 out of the 100 that I made. Now I have, let's just say $80 in my account. Okay, well, I need to pay myself now. All right, so I'm going to pay myself $40. That's fine. Okay. Now I'm going to get taxed at my current tax rate, 24, 34, whatever your tax rate is. Like I said, if you got more kids, it's probably less. If you're single, you're paying out the wazoo. Tax that $40 at that personal tax rate. That's double taxation. That's the two right there. The corporate level tax and then the personal level tax. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me know in the chat if that made sense. So that's why the C corporation is not always, is not very popular at all. Even though it's very cheap, it's not very, very popular. Okay. Now, what some people do, and I have done this, is I have formed a C Corp because, again, after I evaluated my taxes, a situation, after I evaluated what I wanted to do with my business, I formed a C Corp, and then I filed S Corp status. So now that changes that whole double taxation thing. Okay. Because now I'm getting taxed as an S Corp. See, I have to file as an LLC or C Corp first, then I file subchapter S election with the IRS. That's what S Corp stands for, subchapter S election. And subchapter S is subchapter S of the Internal Revenue Code. More than you all wanted to know, but I thought I would let you know anyway. Okay. So as you can see, it can get a little murky. It can get a little complicated. That's why I always recommend scheduling the free consultation. Say, hey, I want to start this business. Can you help me make sure? Let me know which one I should be starting. And then I let you know. We'll go through an analysis. We'll talk about it. And then you let me know. And then you purchase the package online, pay online. It comes to me and we take care of everything on the back end, and you'll have your business in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So that's why it's so important. So this is a great chart. So take your time, and you can go through this, and you don't have to spend that much time on it because you're going to have a professional. You're going to schedule that a consultation with me, and then we're going to be able to talk about it. Okay. So back to the business startup checklist. A lot of people want to know, after we get all that situated, right? We've gone through a lot of steps. They want to know, oh, well, don't I need to worry about my branding or my marketing, or do I need to hire an employee or anything like that? And I say, hey, have you made any money first? Have you made any money first? So depending upon your type of business, it goes right back to what I said at the very beginning. The number one thing, are you making any money? Because you start getting into all of this, you're going to be spending a lot more money without a clear understanding based on your preparation up here. And I've done it too. I've done it where, early on, I formed businesses and I was like, oh, I really don't like this name. Or now that I understand my industry a little bit better, this is not a good name. Or now that I understand my clients a little bit better, but I didn't spend all this money on branding and marketing that I now have to pivot and about face, and all that money is gone. So that's why I always say the number one thing is, are you making any money? Make some money. I work with a lot of people. As I mentioned, I'm a business coach. I have a coaching program called Coaching, Not Courses, because a lot of people will just get you into their program and then you're sitting there watching 45 hours of courses. It's happened to me. And I feel like, oh my God, I didn't have enough time to begin with to start and run this business. And now you want me to sit and watch 45 hours and figure it out? No. So my program is called Coaching, Not Courses. Isn't that a clever name? And we actually have a dialogue. So I won't set you in front of a monitor. We're actually talking about your business problem and working it through, right? So imagine if I had spent all that money on courses and didn't know my ideal client and didn't know my market, and realized after the fact that really they just need to have a conversation. They need to have some thought leadership. They need to have another CEO to converse with who's been the road that they've been on, to say, hey, you need to make a left here. I call myself their OnStar button on their journey to success, right? So a mentor and a coach is very important as well. It will save you a lot of time. And it's really meant for people who have a day job, right? You have a day job, but you want to transition out of that day job, and you want to build this business now on the side, but you need to do it quickly and you need to do it efficiently and effectively. So that's what my coaching program does. But I only use that as an example to, explain some of this branding and marketing stuff. So you can get to this, but you don't want to spend all that money and then waste it because you didn't spend enough time up here. Okay. And I know it's no fun. I know you're like, oh my God, the branding is fun and it's hot and it's sexy and I get to choose colors and pictures and packaging and all of that kind of stuff. And then what if you choose all wrong? Maybe your ideal client doesn't like blue and everything you chose was blue. So it's just a thought. It's just a thought. It's just to help you all form your businesses more efficiently, more cost effectively, because, I don't know about you, but I don't have a dime to lose, or I don't like to lose my dime. Let's put it like that. Right. And you want to be as successful as you can from the start, and to not go down those bumpy roads, and to not have those missteps if you can avoid them. Right. So that's why I put this guide together. And if you go through the guide, it will get you off to a very good start. It'll get you off to a very good start. So can I answer any questions for you all? Anything? I think the links are still in the chat. So if you need the workbook or the handout, I don't really call it a workbook. It's a handout. Just go to the first link, which is enterpriseesquire.com/freebies. To look at my business formation packages, that's enterpriseesquire.com. Now I'm talking way too fast, /packages. And then I'm going to put the link in here for you to schedule your 15-minute consultation. Those of you who are in need of it, you can, I certainly welcome it. I do enjoy speaking to you all. That's the link to schedule a free 15-minute consult. And you know what? It may not be for you all. So if there's a entrepreneur or a family member or a friend that wants to start a business or needs this type of assistance, forward my information on. I'm more than happy to help them. More than happy to help. I am an entrepreneur myself. I am on this is my third business. I think it's my third business. Growing and making my businesses successful. So this is something that I love. I really, really do enjoy doing that. Did you start? Okay, I've got a question coming in. Let's see here. Did you start your business this way in a webinar or research the requirements to become an entrepreneur? Great question, Arian. So here's the thing. I'm an attorney. So I went to law school and learned all this stuff. So I paid way more money than you all would pay to start your business, right? So, and then once I started my business and I started listening to my clients, I started to create these webinars to help people. Because remember, I said my why is to close that wealth gap, right? Through entrepreneurship and real estate, and starting businesses is part of entrepreneurship, right? So I started these webinars to help get the information out there for people, and for them to say, hey, I want to start a business. I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know an attorney either. Well, hello, now you know an attorney. And I'm the type of person, if I can't help you, I try to point you in the right direction. I'll give a referral. I'll send you off to someone else. I'll find a different attorney for you. But that's a great question. But yeah, I went to law school to learn how to do it. So I didn't have to start it in a webinar or do the research and stuff like that. And then I just, since it's my passion, I kind of keep up with the law and everything here. So, but if there was a webinar, I would absolutely do it, depending upon the credibility of the person, right? Depends upon the credibility of the person. So I do these webinars for free. It's an entire series. You can go to my events page. I'll put that link in there too. It's called this is called Buildings in Business webinars for January. There'll be different webinars for February as well. And they happen every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you can register for as many of these webinars as you like. This one was, I want to start a business. I forgot what next week was. What is next week? I think next week is selling your home. So we talk about real estate matters with selling your home. I know at the end of the month, I have real estate investing, because as I mentioned, I'm a real estate investor. So I have a capital investing webinar at the end of the month. And then whatever the other one was. What is my little thing says here? Oh, next week is starting a nonprofit. That's right. I start nonprofits as well. And I'm a nonprofit professional. I've been in the nonprofit world for over 12 years. I worked as a director of a department at a national nonprofit, and I grew revenues at that nonprofit to over $1 million a year for the department that I ran. And then I'm also a general counsel to various nonprofits. And so I have a lot of nonprofit experience. So next week's webinar is about forming a nonprofit and talking about the ins and outs of that. And then the week after that is the selling your home. So those people who are, selling their home want information on how to do that. And then, as I mentioned, the last Wednesday in January is about capital investing. So passive real estate investing through a hard money lender. So I have my own hard money. My husband and I started our own hard money lending company, Black owned hard money lending company. So we talk about educating people of color on how to invest in real estate passively. This is just one of the ways. There's a million ways to invest in real estate. This is just one of them. So that's it. Okay. Any questions? We're right on time. I tried to keep this to 1 hour. I know it was a lot of information, but you all have the link to schedule a consultation. You have the link to purchase the packages when you're ready. And we will get those turned around for you, like I said, between 24 and 48 hours. So are there any more questions I can answer for you all? I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I appreciate you. I was going to do a midday webinar, announcement like Facebook Live. But then with everything that was going on at DC, I was like, I can't come on live and talk about this. So I didn't think anybody was going to show up just with all that's going on right now. So I do appreciate you all coming in. If I can be of assistance to you all in any way, whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whether it's coaching, whether it's nonprofit, those are my areas. Reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. I do have a team. I have an attorney, a paralegal, and a virtual assistant who all work for me. So we try to do the best that we can for our clients to give you all the knowledge that you need so that you have the confidence and the knowledge to move forward in whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's start a business or handle real estate matters. Okay. So last chance for questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to be very respectful and mindful of everybody's time. All right. Well, feel free to tell a friend, register for the other webinars. I hope to see you all on those. If this was good for you, please post it on social media and hashtag Enterprise Esquire for me. And I'll come looking for it if your post is public. I really appreciate that. And just let others know that, this is a free webinar every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can go to my website to see what the topics are. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all coming in and have a wonderful evening. Take care.